You know, oh man. Wow. 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 It's honestly the best thing I feel like I could say right now. Um, in the words of Sir K, God damn. And goddamn is right. Um, well, for starters, obviously, I look a little different today. That's because I'm by myself. I'm running solo dolo, and that is because our guy Sir K, unfortunately, has dealt with another tree knocking down the power line by his house. This is the second time in like the span of a month. So obviously Sir K could not join us today. I'm sure he will. I know he will be back for Friday because we'll be in person together, me and him on Friday. So he'll be back on Friday. But yes, Sir K, legit, no lie, he sent me the photos as soon as he got home this morning, and a tree has knocked down the power line to his house, which obviously, as you guys know, on news a couple weeks ago, the same thing happened to him. So these storms here have been pretty nuts, but Sir K has definitely been getting the brunt end of the stick with the storms. So again, I'm by myself. You guys got me for today's unscripted episode, man. And on this unscripted episode, there is no dynamite to talk about, as we obviously went over Redemption yesterday. A lot of people hated Redemption, and I honestly didn't mind it. Again, it wasn't the most best AEW show I've seen all year. I've seen people saying this is their weakest show of the year. That I would probably agree with. I think, and again, I just think a lot of their other shows have been very up to par. They've been very up to par. They've been very good. They've been hitting on all cylinders with pay-per-view this year, I think. And last night's show, I think, was the weakest of the bunch. However, I didn't think this was. I've seen people calling this AEW's worst pay-per-view of all time. That I think is a bit of a stretch. I do not think these people truly remember Dynasty 2025, but I'm sorry, 25. Yeah. Yes, 25. 2025. Yes, last year's Dynasty. Um but yeah, so but yes, Redemption, we went over it yesterday, so there will be no Dynamite to talk about for today, but we do got Raw and we do got SmackDown, and oh brother. Oh brother. This ep- this episode of Monday Night Raw, I'm sure Sir K is going to fill in the blanks for you guys on Friday, but this is just one of these episodes where I think to myself, wonder what Sir K would be thinking right now. Because today's episode of Monday Night Raw was one of the absolute horrors of the year. This is the go home show to SummerSlam, by the way. This episode of Monday Night Raw tonight was one of the worst Monday Night Raws I've seen in a recent memory. Now, again, there's definitely a laundry list, I would say, this year of very boring Raws. This one, downright offensive. It was downright offensive. It genuinely, it genuinely it was one of the most offensive episodes of Monday Night Raw that I've ever fucking seen. Now, look, look, man, dude, man, yeah, they put us in for a rough show here today, and yeah, this was absolutely terrible. By the end of the show, when Roman grabbed the chair, and Michael Cole is like, "Oh my god, do you know what this means?" I dropped my head, and that wasn't even the worst part of all. That wasn't even that wasn't even the worst thing. That wasn't even probably close to one of the worst things on the show. On top of Shield lore, tonight we were graced with Shield chair lure. Even better. So that was the cherry on top of the banana split, but Logan, man, Logan says human money's on a pole match. That to me was that was the culmination of how offensive this Monday Night Raw was here today. That to me, that Danhausen and Joe Henry concert, everything about it. Not only can I not stand those two, the music obviously was terrible. And then, to make it all better, they had a celebrity, a boxer, jump in the ring and crash the segment. They had Ryan Garcia jump in the ring and end this segment. The segment ended with the Judgment Day and Ryan Garcia standing tall in the ring. That was the epitome of this Monday Night Raw here today. On top of that, it was a bunch of dumb decisions. There's obviously a lot of people that weren't. Actually, no, I can't even say that. Chad Gable wasn't there, obviously, because he's doing media for SummerSlam. So, that is obviously going to, at least for me, take a notch away from the show. Even though, we did see Chad. He wasn't there in person. Neither was Penta. Would have been nice to see those guys in person, being that, that's probably the match I'm most looking forward to this weekend. But again, I get it. I get, they're obviously in Minnesota promoting. It's typically what they do. So it doesn't really come as a shock, but downright offensive. Again, downright offensive is the best way I can describe this episode of Monday Night Raw. Boring, offensive, what's another word? Boring, offensive, a lot of dumb decisions. A lot of decisions I just did not understand. I didn't understand what they did with the Women's IC Championship. I didn't get it. Again, we have now a stipulation for Dan versus Dom. What are we doing? What are we doing, Paul? Honest to God, what are we doing? So terrible, dude. So terrible, man. This company sometimes will really just make you question why you choose to go into Netflix every week and click on to Monday Night Raw. It really does. We're going to get into it. We're going to unpack this whole thing. There's a lot to unpack, but we're going to unpack all of it. How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of NHP Unscripted. This is episode 200. This is episode 310, not 210. I wonder what was the thumbnail for episode 210, but this is episode 310. I wonder what was going on in the world of wrestling when 210 of Unscripted was happening. But we're at 310, not 210. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, how's everybody doing? If this is your first time watching, you guys do not know the show works every Monday after Raw. We are on here with NHP Unscripted, and every Friday at 3 p.m. Central, we are on here with the news. Speaking of which, well, let me finish first. And then also, for the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW, we are live directly after a show goes off the air with the official post-show review. Now, speaking of which, Friday's episode of the news will be at 1 p.m. Central. It is going to be at 1 p.m. Central. We will be... me and Sir K and a couple of our buddies will be attending a Spider-Man Brand New Day showing on Friday. So we did have to push the show a little bit earlier, as it is SummerSlam weekend, or Spider-Man weekend, as some are calling it. Yes, we will be live Friday at 1 p.m. Central. So not 3 p.m. Central again. Going to see Spider-Man, man, and I am very excited to see what they got in store, man. I'm very excited to see what they got in store. I did forget to mention to you guys, I did watch the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and I gotta admit, I didn't really feel anything. I didn't really feel anything. I think trailer 1 definitely yeah, it didn't really get me too excited. I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe it was maybe I was overly looking for cameos or something like that, but most of those are probably going to come at Secret Wars, not Doomsday. The at least this one's probably just going to be just a movie to establish MF Doom or Doctor Doom as the villain in the new Avengers villain. So, yeah, but nonetheless, look pretty good, man. Look pretty good. I mean, it looked good again. Just didn't really get me excited. Guess it looked cool, but yeah, it didn't really get me excited, to be honest. Oh my god, I forgot the Clayface one. I did mean to watch the Clayface one, and I did forget it. So I will. I always see the posters every time I go to the movies, and I always fucking say to myself, ever since you guys have been talking about it, I've been trying to remember to watch it. Uh, who knows, man? Maybe I'll remember once Unscripted gets done here today. But yeah, but other than that, your boy over the past weekend, I think I mentioned it Friday or yesterday. I picked up NBA Live, man. I picked up NBA Live for the PS4. I added it to my PS4 physical copy collection, and I did pick up NBA Live, and I got NBA Live 19 and 18. Got to play around on that today. It was pretty fun. I haven't played an NBA Live game in so long. Sometimes I wish that they were still a thing. I know a lot of people hate them. For me, I don't know. I always liked them, and I always loved the net physics. EA just nailed the net physics. I don't know why it's so satisfying watching a shot go in NBA Live. It really is. It's very, the net is very like long and thin. So like when the ball goes through it, it really does move around a lot. It adds for a really cool aesthetic, but nonetheless, got to play around on NBA Live Day, and again, it was pretty fun, man. It was pretty fun. I did enjoy it. It was definitely oh my god, it's been the last NBA Live I played was NBA Live 15, which was obviously in like 2014 or 15 or something like that. So, was probably the last time I played it. Maybe I played it in 2016, maybe, but around 10 plus years ago. And it definitely brought back a lot of old vibes for sure. And again, super cool to play, man. I haven't played one of those in forever. But yeah, man. That's pretty much that's all the non-wrestling stuff I have to talk about, I guess. But also, if you guys have not got a chance to get your hands on some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now find this live on the merch shop. That is bonfire.com. Links at the top description of this very video, where you can find the Slept On Since 2020 design, as well as all the other OG designs live on there as we speak. Again, that is bonfire.com. Links to the top description of this very video, man. And with that being said, if this is your first time watching and you do not know who we are here at NHP, I am Johnny, one half of the host of this very podcast. And as for the other half, we got none other than my guy, Sir K. However, he is not here today. But he is doing good. He is doing good, nonetheless. Despite his power being out and another tree falling on his power line, he is doing good, nonetheless. But as for you guys, how are you guys doing? Thank you guys for joining us. As always, we got Manager Logan in the house, and we got my guy Jeff, bro. We got my guy Jeff here. How the hell are you guys doing? Jeff says he had his power knocked out 10 days ago. Oh, I'm sorry. 10 days before from a hurricane. 10 days is crazy. You know, I used to grow up, where I used to grow up was like the most unattended spot because there's not, um, like, for whatever reason, we weren't a priority growing up, and the section of my neighborhood was always last to get their power on. And I remember, I want to say we went, I actually think it was either 10, it was 10 to 14 days we went without power. I remember it being really, 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 really long. And I also remember being really young. So yeah, I remember, hey, that, phew, yeah, that definitely, those days are not fun. Those days are definitely not fun, especially if you forget to like charge your power banks or whatever the case may be. You got nothing, bro. You got nothing. Phone's dead. It really makes you appreciate the small things, right? It makes you appreciate walking in the room and being able to fucking turn a light on. But yeah, it is. They those days can be very, very, very rough, man. Very rough. Logan says, thankfully, he's never had his power go out for more than 2 days. I would say, yeah, in recent memory, like if I'm thinking the last like 5 years, the longest probably is about 2 days. Probably is about 2 days. So I would say we had that real annoying problem a couple weeks ago where we actually had to do our news episode on a Saturday. The power didn't go out, but the Wi-Fi went out for some reason. So the Xfinity lines were all down, and that was annoying. Again, it really makes you appreciate the small things, like being able to just things we do without even thinking about them, like, you know, walking in the room and or walking in the house and immediately connecting to the Wi-Fi, or walking in the room and turning on a light. So yeah, it really does make you appreciate it, man. I will say that. But yeah, so damn, two trees is wild. Let's get that out of the way. And they fell on your neighbor's house. That's To get struck with one tree is bad. To get struck with two, yikes. Yikes, man. Hurricane Jeff says hurricanes usually don't come this far in the land for me, but this one was rough and took out a ton of trees and all the power lines all over. Yeah, that is man, that's rough. Honestly, the we get hit most from like just windy storms, like God, God forbid, knock on wood, but like we don't really get much tornadoes. At least the part of Chicago that I'm in, we don't really get much tornadoes or anything like that. Normally, when power goes out or anything like that, we get hit with like real strong winds. Those will do it. Those will definitely do it to you. Which, when I going to high school, I unfortunately had the displeasure of walking in a lot of those high wind days, and it genuinely feels like you're fucking getting blown away. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Logan's got no trees by his house, man. It's crazy. That's crazy. Very crazy. I got trees all around me. All around me. Wild stuff. No trees by the house, man. I guess you do live in northern Minnesota, after all. I would assume, well, at least from what you tell me, that's all country, so makes sense. Makes sense. But yeah, wild stuff, dude, wild stuff. But before we get to Monday Night Raw, we must talk about this Friday Night SmackDown. This show, this show ain't getting any better either. This show is not getting any better either. For starters, right? We have on this episode of SmackDown a Nick Aldis and Gunther contract signing. Nick Aldis and Gunther signed the contract for their SummerSlam match, and both men were cutting promos on each other. Nick Aldis said things along the lines of Gunther was shocked by the fact that Nick Aldis, hit him in the face with the championship in New York City, because he said Gunther thought he was going to be able to, bitch him around and go on about his day. But he says that didn't happen, and Gunther quickly realized that he didn't want any of this. He then tells Gunther at SummerSlam he is going to be his boss's bitch. Huh. Okay. So, I got excited when I first heard about this match taking place because, or I got excited on Friday when I heard about this segment because I heard Nick Aldis was going to be relinquishing his general manager duties. And I got excited, personally, because I would really like to see William Regal in that role. Now, obviously, we know William Regal left AEW, and he had that, no-compete clause for like 2 years or something that it was, or not a no-compete, but like a non-TV role agreement, where he could go back to WWE and he can work in WWE, but he couldn't appear on TV. He couldn't be an on-screen character or anything like that. And it was either a 1-year agreement or a 2-year agreement, something like that. I got excited when I first heard about this because I thought that Nick Aldis would be relinquishing his duties to, maybe, just maybe, give the role to William Regal, because William Regal is my favorite general manager of all time. I think they just did a tremendous job with him in NXT. And again, I will say, for as much stupid shit as Triple H does, one thing he does do pretty well, I would say, for the most part, is his general managers. Again, he has his moments where they just do weird stuff, or they just have very odd dialogue, but for the most part, he does a pretty good job with his general managers. It's not like a Vince GM where this person is on TV 20 segments out of 22 of them, he's not coming out after every match. We hardly see them, maybe like one to two at the very most, like live interactions in person do we actually see them come out. I'm sure you guys get what I'm saying. It's not like a Constable Corbin thing where, again, this dude is coming out every single segment to do what he's got to do, and then he also has like, half of his segments are also backstage segments, and we see him after every match, and it's not like that. So I was excited for Regal to take the role, and not because Aldis is a bad general manager or anything. I actually like Nick Aldis as the general manager for SmackDown, but hey, for me, can't be Mr. Regal, man. I think Regal just brought that intensity. He's just that old vet, that old vet that everybody respects, and nobody's got a bad thing to say about William Regal. So I was excited for it, but apparently it's only until after SummerSlam, so I'm assuming they're going to keep Nick Aldis as the SmackDown GM. But again, it goes without saying, I was very excited when I first heard this, just for that little glimmer of hope that Regal would be back. Unfortunately, he probably is not coming back. He's probably just going to continue to do his backstage duties or his scouting, whatever they have him doing these days. I'm sure he's just going to continue with that. Gotti's here, man. He asks, what the fuck is he looking at? You're looking at me, man. What's wrong with me, bro? Sir K. Sir K has been punished, for lack of a better term, by Mother Nature. So, Gotti says his power has been out all day. My area was hit really bad by a tornado, absolutely devastated the city I grew up in and destroyed half the city. That is wild, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. His power's been out all day. I'm also sorry to hear that, dude. That sucks. We were just talking about it, but yes, that is brutal when that happens. Very brutal when it happens. Yeah. Sir K has been excommunicated. Yes, he has. Yes, crazy. Yes. So they signed the contract and they started brawling. Nick Aldis was powerbombed through a table by Gunther. So that was that. Again, the segment was good. I thought the segment was good. Again, they did kind of pump fake me there just for a second with the idea of William Regal returning to his general manager chair. Nikki Bella returned. She returned to stop the evil Fatal Influence. That's her name, right? Is that the... I always get Fatal Influence. What was the... Oh, I always get them mixed up with Toxic Attraction. Yeah, that's the one. I always get that. I always get the two... wasn't JC Jane in both? Yeah, JC Jane was in both of them. I always get the JC Jane groups mixed up. Yes, Fatal Influence. Fatal Influence was attacking Brie Bella and Paige, but Nikki Bella made her return to the ring to attack Fatal Influence here and call the three of them out for SummerSlam. She called them out for SummerSlam. She challenged them, obviously, to a 3-on-3 Fatal Influence versus Nikki, Brie, and Paige. What I'm assuming is going to happen here is Fatal Influence is going to win, which they should anyways, Paul. I'm assuming Fatal Influence is going to win, and then we will finally see the Bella Twins attack Paige, being that Nikki Bella was heel late last year, and then Brie came back, and she kind of just dropped it. So, now she's back, and it seems like she's like babyface again, but I really don't think it's going to last, especially because, like, at least from what we knew, Nikki Bella really enjoyed being a heel. So I would assume, I would assume this is what's going to happen. Either that, if they wanted to keep the Bella's face, maybe they do a turn where Paige turns on them. Maybe Paige turns on them and joins Fatal Influence. Maybe something like that. I'm not really too sure, but those are the possibilities. I will say, kind of crazy that we are getting... a Bella Twins Paige versus Fatal Influence match. Yet, neither one of the tag team titles are on SummerSlam. And they still do have a chance to put the War Raiders versus Wepa up on SummerSlam come Friday. But at least tonight, they completely wrote off the other set of tag team championships. So, for as bad as everybody felt for Braun Breaker coming out of Unreal, the new season of Unreal, this poor guy is not on SummerSlam either. Nice. Good shit, Paul. Good shit. So, that is that. So, yes, we do have Fatal Influence versus the Bellas and Paige. What is that? That, to me, is a SmackDown match. That is the SmackDown before SummerSlam match, if anything. You mean to genuinely tell me that match is worthy of being on SummerSlam over a Braun Breaker and Austin Theory versus Alpha Academy match. At least the Raw Tag Team title match has a little bit of build and some story going into it with the Otis and Maxine and all that drama going on there. I know for sure I would have rather seen that than this. And I like Fatal Influence, I do, but just being honest. So yes, Nikki Bella returns and sets out her sights on Fatal Influence for SummerSlam. Next up, we have Gotti says, God, yes. Logan says, how is Braun Breaker not on the fucking card? Gotti also says Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes are both being left off of SummerSlam. Yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So is, I gotta throw his name in there just because I always do. So is my guy, Ilya Dragunov, bro. Have not seen him since April. We are coming up on 4 months where we have not seen Dragunov for absolutely no reason. And, you know, according to WWE, man, he is just a interchangeable mid-carder. Just an interchangeable mid-carder. It's just great. Just wonderful. But yeah, Braun especially, dude, criminal. He is a tag team champion. He's a tag team champion, and he is in a story right now that could have absolutely been given a tag title match at SummerSlam. But what do they go and do? They go and put it on tonight's Raw for no reason known to man. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. We then get a number one contender WWE title match at SummerSlam. This one is between Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Royce Keys, and Trick Williams. There's so much wrong with everything I just read. I repeat, there is a WWE title number one contender match at SummerSlam now. And Sami Zayn got in. And the other guys that are fighting for the spot is Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Royce Keys, and Trick Williams. What? Okay, well, first of all, let's start with this. Finn Balor won the match. And I'm glad for that. I think that is I think that's the best way to, I think that was the best way to go. Reason being, Damian Priest is a tag team champion. Why is he why is he being thought of to be the number one contender post SummerSlam? Royce Keys already has a match at SummerSlam. So so you expect me to believe he has a chance of winning this, and he has a match on the card against the Bloodline. And Trick Williams is the U.S. champion. What are you, Tony Khan? You putting your mid-card title? You want to put your mid-card champions on, have them contend for world titles now, even though they're already a fucking champion of something else? So those three names immediately X out all believability for them. Why would you put them in that? Why would I believe any of those guys are going to move on to potentially contend for a world title? They do have Finn Balor win, so we will be getting Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. I gotta say, I am very happy that Finn Balor and Sami Zayn made it on to SummerSlam in the first place, because in all honesty, I did not think they'd be making it. Especially Finn. He has been doing the most random stuff on SmackDown. He's been, last time I checked, he was feuding with Tama Tonga and Hikuleo. He's been feuding with his old Bullet Club buddy. I didn't think he would make it to SummerSlam at all. I am happy he is on the card. And he's going to be facing Sami Zayn. I'm sure the match is going to turn out really good. Who wins that? I would like to say Finn, just for the sole fact of how often do we really get to see Finn Balor vie for a championship. Sami Zayn kind of just got out of that whole circle, so it's like, why would you make him the number one contender again just to more than likely go and fucking lose the title match and have WWE try to paint the picture to me that this guy's not good enough, even though this is Sami Zayn. But that's the underdog story that they went with for Sami Zayn, I guess, that he's just not good enough. I don't know why you would do that to Sami. I don't know why you would do it to him again. But I mean, if you do Sami, you could do Sami and Punk or Sami and Cody, which again, sure they're going to be good matches. Feud probably isn't going to be all that. Again, I personally fail to realize just why you would do that with Sami Zayn again. And then Finn. Well, the possibilities for Finn are obviously Punk or Cody. You just did a program with Punk. You just did a program with CM Punk. So I don't see why they would do that again. Also, they're both baby faces and they kind of have that mutual respect now coming out of their feud. Or you could do Finn versus Cody, which, if that's the case, you just move. I guess you just move Punk on from that. You just get him out of. He just goes away from the WWE Championship. I don't know. I really do not know what the idea is here. With either way, I can confidently say Finn and Sami obviously have no chance of winning the championship. At least I don't think so. I don't think they have a chance of winning the championship here. And either way, I feel like this is just going to be a buffer so fans don't get tired of seeing Cody and Punk or something like that. But yeah, again, they make this number one contender match, and I don't really know who can win here. Again, I would say Finn is probably the better option, only because giving Sami Zayn another loss. Excuse me. Giving Sami Zayn another loss out of, right off the back of his 9-day title reign, I just don't really understand what the good in that would be, or who is to benefit from that. Finn offers some freshness with him being in that title scene. But the freshest option here is a Finn versus Cody feud, and I don't really know how likely that is. Obviously, only for the reason being that, we already seen Finn versus Punk. So, again, just kind of lost here. Kind of lost, if you can't tell. Kind of lost here on what exactly it is we're doing with the World Heavyweight title, or the WWE title, number one contender scene here. Definitely a little lost. I cannot lie to you. But, regardless, yeah, that was the number one contender qualifying match for SummerSlam. After the match, Trick Williams is attacked by Baron Corbin. He's attacked by Baron Corbin, and Trick tells Corbin on the way out, Um, he's a coward for attacking him from behind, and he tells Corbin, "How about you show me you're not a coward and face me at SummerSlam?" Corbin accepts the offer, and the match is set. Baron Corbin versus Trick Williams for SummerSlam. This made me laugh at all the people that, were trying to defend WWE by saying, WWE hasn't done a proper Trick and Mello feud because they're saving it for a bigger stage. This seems like a pretty big stage to me. Okay, and we have kind of been through this song and dance before with these recent reports of, WWE wanting to save Obafemi and Roman Reigns for a bigger stage. This is SummerSlam. What is coming up in the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months on the calendar that is as big as SummerSlam? That would obviously make sense to put them in a main event match, because obviously Survivor Series typically is ended with a War Games match, so you can't really count that. What? SummerSlam's your biggest event coming up, within the next couple of months. Mania's way out. SummerSlam is your big show. And again, it just kind of made me laugh for all the people that defended WWE by saying that they did not properly do Trick and Mello because they wanted to save it, and for a bigger stage. Again, seems like a pretty big stage to me. Trick and Mello have history, and you have the U.S. title involved. That would have been very cool. They have history. You could have had a very cool story there, but they went with Baron Corbin. This could mean one of two things, and I do not really know, and I do not really understand the point of either of them. On one hand, you can have Baron Corbin win the United States Championship, which, good God, I mean, I like Corbin. I really do. But I you're gonna take this is who we're taking the title off of Trick Williams for? I mean, again, it's not like you have many names in that SmackDown mid-card division who I think people would be more interested to see hold the US Championship than Baron Corbin. But man, I gotta say, man, it is just very, very questioning. The only, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, the only reason that I could see this being, beneficial to Trick Williams is this kind of their solidification of making Trick a babyface, by putting him against somebody who's obviously a blatant heel, as Baron Corbin, because obviously they kind of tried this with Sami Zayn, where it's we're gonna make Trick the good guy, but then Sami Zayn was kind of this tweener character where he was he was a good guy. He was a good guy, but he also was kind of a bad guy. He kind of just was like a baby face for only his fans, I guess, was the idea of it. But that's the only, I guess, good that can come out of this is what they're going to do to fully solidify Trick Williams as a babyface by using somebody like Baron Corbin, who's, a heel, a full-fledged heel, to kind of help him get there. But taking the title off of Trick for Baron Corbin, I don't know is the best decision. And then that leads me to my second thing, where if Corbin does lose, it is definitely going to beg the question, did you just bring him back to do what he did before he was leaving, where he's just in a role to help people and to just help the young guys? So I don't know. They're in a bit of a weird situation, man, where it's Corbin winning a U.S. title. It's not a bad idea, but the only problem is Trick is so over You know what I mean? He's so over. It's just I feel like he's got gas left in the tank for his U.S. Championship run. But you know, maybe they want to give his babyface arc, I guess, a little bit of that adversity that, you know, maybe Baron Corbin can give him as a heel. But I don't know. I guess those are kind of all the different options that WWE has on the plate and all the different scenarios they could kind of take this thing. But either way, it is a little bit sad that Baron Corbin, and no disrespect to the man, I think he's a wonderful talent, but it's a little ridiculous to me that Baron Corbin is getting a singles one-on-one match for SummerSlam, yet we have not seen Dragunov in 4 months. Braun Breaker's not on the card. Carmelo Hayes, dude, how long is it going to take before... How long is it going to take for people to continuously ask you for something before you ever decide to do something with these people? These people are people that we like. These are people that we want to see. And all he ever does is fuck off with them. Jeff says Baron Corbin hates lemon pepper. He must hate lemon pepper, bro. He must be like a he must be like a garlic parmesan kind of guy, maybe like a honey barbecue guy. I don't know what Baron Corbin is, man. That must be the reason. That could be the reason. Also, too, if Baron Corbin does win the U.S. title at SummerSlam, please, for the love of everything holy, have another U.S. title on standby. I cannot stand to see Baron Corbin holding that white fuzzy belt. I cannot stand to see it. I truly can't. So hopefully, you know, if that is the case, they do have another belt on standby, because that is a rough look, looking at Baron Corbin holding that thing that Trick Williams carries around. And the last thing to go over on SmackDown is Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Cody says to Punk, he says, everything that I've ever been through, everybody in that locker room, he says, WWE has its best locker room yet. Says, and all the guys that I stand across from, you are the only one that I worry about. Nice. Way to cut down the roster, Chad Rhodes. Nice job. Only worried about Punk. Only worried about the 47-year-old. You're not worried about Obafemi, motherfucker? You're not worried about Jacob Fatu? You're not worried about Braun Breaker? None of these guys you're worried about? Only Punk? Okay. Interesting. Punk tells Cody Rhodes, he says, if you consider Kevin Owens an enemy, if you consider John Cena an enemy, if you consider Seth Rollins an enemy, you can consider me a friend. He says, and I told you this a couple years ago, your friends stab you in the front. And at SummerSlam, I'm going to stab you in the front and show you why I am the best wrestler in the world. And let's be honest, Dusty's kid can't beat me. And he calls for them to hit his music. Cody Rhodes tells him to stop. He tells Punk, you know, he didn't appreciate the whole Dusty's kid thing. He says, is that all I am now? Am I just back to being Dusty's kid? And then he orders for production to hit his music. Wow. Very compelling stuff. Very compelling stuff. Again, it wasn't a bad promo. It was definitely a lot less awkward than their first encounter. In saying that, again, I wouldn't really say it was that good. It wasn't really anything that draws me in. It wasn't really anything that makes me say, wow, I gotta see Cody and Punk in the ring together. It was again, it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't anything like that, quite frankly, at all. It was kind of just there. It was kind of just there, man. It's again, it is what it is. It's just given the big brother little brother vibes, which is exactly what we're getting in the other main event. And as much as we make fun of the Shield lore and all this stuff, I actually can appreciate what they got going on more than Cody and Punk here, man. Again, it's just not really anything that excites me, quite frankly. I was talking about it yesterday on the Redemption review, but it's like I just couldn't I can't find myself to care about the story here. I don't even know what it is, quite frankly. It's Cody Rhodes. Again, it's just like it just gives me vibes of, little brother is jealous of the big brother because he's done more in his career and, he's maybe a little bit more beloved to the audience. It's just big brother, little brother. And some of the material for me just doesn't really get me. Like again, the stab you in the front thing was a cool callback to their promo a couple years ago, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like the Dusty's Kid line. It's like people were saying that to Cody, 4 years ago when he came back to WWE. People were saying that to him then. You know what I mean? It's like what, and it's like he's Dusty's kid. Okay, and like is that supposed to be a bad thing? Like, is that supposed to mean he's less than? Like he's won world championships. He's a main eventer in the company. Like, what is that? I'm not getting how that's the burn that maybe they anticipated for. But again, it's just big brother little brother stuff. And again, I just think Seth and Roman, for as much as I don't really care for that one either, I just think Seth and Roman are doing it better. So again, the promo wasn't bad, but again, it's just this feud in general is just something that it just still has yet to click for me. It really does. So Exactly. Jeff says they don't even have much of a history. It's like they don't. It's like they really don't. Like, obviously, they have their promos from a couple years ago, and they got the lore of Dusty Rhodes telling CM Punk all those years ago, "Look out for my son," and But I mean, it's like again, it just doesn't. Like, when all of a sudden did this become big brother little brother? Like, it doesn't, like, as far as, like, from what I can remember, dude, I remember a couple years ago, dude, like when Cody was in ROH, I remember him telling stories, like, almost scoffing at CM Punk. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the story of Cody Rhodes. He was telling the story about how there was a guy in the locker room and he didn't say his name, but everybody figured it was CM Punk, and then it was revealed it was CM Punk because other people had kind of remembered the story as well. It was like a story of CM Punk where, somebody threw some trash on the ground and Punk stood up and he said, as the locker room leader, I think we should, keep the locker room clean and pick up our trash or whatever. And Cody Rhodes was like scoffing at it. And he even took a shot. And this was, while CM Punk was still on his hiatus or whatever. This was maybe, 2016 or 17. It was after, obviously, Cody Rhodes left WWE. It was maybe 2018 or whatever, building into All In. But it's like, he was like scoffing at the guy again. And he's like, he even made a joke, like, that's how you know you're not the locker room leader, when you have to stand up and say, as the locker room leader. And he kind of, he kind of, again, was basically like, leaders don't have to say they're leaders. They're leaders. But why stuff like that doesn't get brought up? Why Cody Rhodes doesn't maybe, call out CM Punk for, some of the stuff he used to do back in the day, but instead they have this like little brother, big brother dynamic where Cody's acting as if he was always chasing CM Punk and wishing for the things CM Punk had, when he already kind of has done that story, A, with Cena, and B, with Randy. And I think those just make more sense. Again, they don't have much history, yet you're again trying to sell me on something that I just don't believe in. And I think the match is going to be fine. I at least I fucking hope so. These are two of the best in the business. I would fucking hope that they put on a good main event, but I will say Cody Rhodes is known for having kind of bogus main events. However, CM Punk is known, especially in today's age, for doing pretty good stuff. So I do think the match is going to be good overall. I do think at the very least they're going to put on a really good match. But again, you're again just trying to sell me on history that it's like, with Cody and Cena, it was easier because Cody, they obviously told us that Cody used to drive Cena around. You know what I mean? He was a sponge listening to John Cena talk and all the things Cena, all the lessons Cena gave him all those years ago. And then, obviously, we know the history when Cody Rhodes was facing turning heel or staying babyface. He told the story of how he went to John Cena personally for advice on his character. So we know there's history there. And then with Orton, obviously that's history that I can say played out on TV. These guys have history together, and it runs deep and it's rich history. Obviously from Legacy, right? We all know about that. Those are things to me that I think just resonate more than this big brother, little brother stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's you can even have CM Punk say things to Cody Rhodes like, when we both worked in the other company, when I came in, you ran off because you were scared of the star that I am. They don't elaborate on any of that stuff. We've gone back to, you are Dusty's kid line. Again, just stuff to me where it's like, that's not really that much of a burn. Like, like back before Cody Rhodes was the world champion and people would say, you're Dusty's kid, that held some weight to it, because essentially at the time what that meant was, people were taking digs at the fact that his dad was never the world champion. And they were taking digs at the fact that again, he was never a world champion, and people expected the same way for Cody. Like, why would I take you seriously? You're Dusty's kids. You're Rhodes. No Rhodes has ever been a world champion. Again, today, what does that really mean? What does that really mean? You're just Dusty's kid. He's proved he could be a world champion. Like, what? Again, like I said, not really the burn that I think that they think it is. But yeah, yes, Jeff says Cody and Randy was the biggest rivalry for him, and they blew it. It absolutely was. Cody and Randy, they were teasing it since 2024, which was your biggest problem of all. That was the biggest problem that they had, was they had Randy Orton have a staring issue for the better part of 2 years before he turned, and they could have really been in a position to tell a really good story and do really good stuff for that main event scene on SmackDown and for the championship and for Cody Rhodes' title reigns in general. That could have been one of his best feuds, and it should have been one of his best feuds with Orton. Completely blew it. Completely fucking blew it, and they completely made the Randy Cody feud all about Pat McAfee. Good stuff. Good stuff, Paul. So, again, the promo was fine. It wasn't really anything spectacular. And again, I just still have not bought into what they are selling me with this feud. I just don't. The fact that I believe in Seth and Roman and I'm buying Seth and Roman more is enough. That should tell you that is that is enough of the problems here. But yeah, that is everything we have to go over for. That is everything I have to go over for SmackDown, and yeah, so that moves us on to Monday Night Raw here today. And with that being said, before we move on to Monday Night Raw, we got a word from none other than W Energy. W is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters. W is a clean formula, sugar-free, zero-calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your W products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next W purchase. And with that, thank you as always, and shout out to the wonderful people over at W, the official sponsor of what we do here at NHP. Oh, man. This was your July 27th edition of Monday Night Raw from the home of the Los Angeles Clippers, as this obviously took place from the Intuit Dome. Oh my god, man. This show. Holy hell. This was bad. The show opens up with Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar's weigh-in. Oba gets in the cage. He weighs in. And then Brock Lesnar comes out and locks him in the cage. He locks him in the cage, and mind you, there's a bunch of fake police officers and Triple H aura farming again. He's trying to steal the spotlight. He's trying to make it all by himself. This is his, what do we call it? This is Triple H's Dana Envy creeping through. Oh, Logan, please, bro. Please. Brother. You know, that's what I thought they were going to do, Jeff. He says Kane would have just ripped the door off. I thought they were going to make Oba look like a monster, and I thought he was going to rip the door off and start brawling with Brock. But no, he just sat there and rattled the cage as Paul Heyman and Lesnar walked all the way around the ring, and he told him, Brock is gonna beat him because this is the Broctagon, and he's never been defeated in the Broctagon. And then Lesnar grabs the mic and he says, "I'll see you Sunday, bitch." And Oba Femi walks up to Peach Fuzz Paul with his buzz cut that he has now, and then starts attacking the LAPD. the fake police officers, the Spirit Halloween police officers that were in the Intuit Dome tonight, end up for no reason just getting absolutely mauled by Obafemi. They love beating up fake police officers, man. Didn't we already see this with Oba and Brock? Didn't we see Oba? Yeah, I think we seen Oba attacking a bunch of police officers. This was, again, this was a segment that we've seen before. This was exactly their Mania segment. Their segment before Mania, I think they did a weigh-in then. This was basically the exact same thing, minus, Oba being locked in the cage. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This feud is out of juice for, like, TV segments. These guys, when it comes to, like, seeing each other on Raw, you have done everything possible with these two. They have said everything possible to each other. You know what I mean? They've brawled. Oba's got the one up. Brock's got the one up. Everybody, everything has happened. Everything that could happen has happened. And again, like I was saying, this feud is definitely going to be remembered for its matches and not for its segments, because these segments they're not bad. They are just all the same. They're just all the same. Again, I think Oba and Lesnar have done a really good job at, like, differentiating their two matches. Their two matches felt very different from one another. Their Mania match from their Clash in Italy match, but it's like, coming up here, we are now damn near in August, and when it comes to, like, television, there's no more. There's no more that you can do. There's no more that you can do with these guys on television. And yes, Obafemi attacks the police officers, man. He went to, like, give a fall from grace to the one, and, like, completely, like, damn near, like, not even damn near, like, landed him down on the top of his fucking head, but then he, like, picked him back up and gave him a proper fall from grace. So I guess he kind of saved it. He didn't completely throw him down. I guess when his head did hit the floor, he still did kind of have a hold of him. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But nonetheless, this was the opening segment. Again, excuse me. Again, it wasn't a bad segment, but just all the same, these guys facing off, basically just saying they're going to kick the other one's ass, and that is that. Again, like I said, this feud will be known better for its matches and not its segments. So, yeah, but let's see. Logan says, did Triple H and Adam Pearce hire fake police like Paul did? Maybe, bro. Maybe. They gave him Triple H, man. He found the one Spirit Halloween that stays open year round. Probably pulled up. Gotti says TNA's having a show in Chicago next month, and he might have to be there. I think the more important thing here is AEW's having a Chicago show in 2 months, and Logan's going to be there. I think that's what we need to be talking about. Logan will be there, man. He's going to get to see the Now Arena, man. I'm excited for him. I am very excited for him. But, Gotti could come to All Out. Logan, he just sent it, bro. He says, and I quote, I will, all caps, will be there. He types it again, will. It's always someone Manager Logan touches down in Chicago, bro. It's always a movie, bro. It's always a movie. But nonetheless, that was the opening segment for Monday Night Raw. After this, I really wish Sir K was here. I want to know his thoughts on this. We got Chapter 6, The Surprise, which was their Royal Rollins and Reigns, by the way. Rollins and Reigns, it does go nuts, man. It does go nuts. You know, the last time we seen Brother Logan, the last time I had the honor of seeing Brother Logan, it was 975 days ago. How do I know this? Because I had a countdown for Survivor Series 2023. I had a days countdown, and I never got rid of it, so it reversed it. And now it tells me how many days ago it was. And it's been on my phone ever since. I never took it off. It's been 975 days. I think it's time. But that's just me. However, we got Chapter 6, The Surprise, which was their 2022 Royal Rumble match where he surprised him wearing the old Shield gear. We got Chapter 7, Old Ghost, which was the Mania 40 encounter where Roman basically chose his hatred over his championship. And we got Chapter 8, The Grandest Stage, which was Rollins, Roman, and Punk main eventing. The video packages have been pretty good. Pretty good, I must say. It kind of just recaps their history, but I gotta say, I would rather a video package recap the history than every time these guys get on the mic, it's basically just, you know, I can't believe what you did to me, brother. You're supposed to be my brother. But we were brothers. You know, so I guess I'll take the video packages over that. But yeah, we got another there's 8 chapters here. And by God, I'm glad we're done. And hopefully this is the last time. However, WWE announced launching today is WWE Radio on SiriusXM's Pro Wrestling Nation channel. It's their Pro Wrestling Nation channel. WWE Busted Open Radio is being rebranded to WWE Radio. So now for everybody who, again, is a fan of all professional wrestling, maybe you want to hear about AEW as you're, driving around listening to Busted Open Radio. I don't listen to Busted Open, but I know a lot of people do. And maybe you want to, drive around the car and listen to fucking Busted Open Radio, talk about both WWE and AEW. Well, now it's only a WWE program. Now you get to hear recaps. Recaps on the shows, and you get to hear the Raw recap with Sam Roberts, and you get to, I will say, the only cool thing that's on SiriusXM for WWE Radio is PLE play-by-play. So, like, if you're in the car and you can't watch the pay-per-view, you can listen to play-by-play of it. That I actually think is really fucking cool. Because a lot of times, you can do that with sports. I remember, I remember when I was a kid, my friend's dad used to do that all the time with hockey, and I used to always think to myself, it would be cool if I could just listen to a wrestling show, like a Raw or a SmackDown, in case I can't watch it. They didn't say it was going to be for every show. They just said major shows, so I'm assuming premium live events or like a Saturday night's main event. Maybe if there's a episode of Raw big enough, then they'll do it. But nonetheless, that is probably the only cool thing that they got on there. Other than that, it's Busted Open Radio is completely being rebranded to WWE Radio. So we can elaborate a little bit more on Friday. I can get a little bit more of the details to it because I just found out about it after this Friday's episode of the news. So I am interested to kind of see what's all going on here. But that's actually a good question. I don't know if they're going to play theme songs on the radio. I don't know. Or if it's just going to be like podcast type of radio of people talking. So, I don't know. Interesting. They should get us on WWE radio, man. They should. That'd be a good thing. I think people would love us. If you guys want pure WWE honesty, you know, you can come to WWE radio and watch us. Jeff says Sam Roberts. Ew. Come on, man. You don't like Doink Ambrose? Hey, man. Yeah, I get that. I've listened to Sam. So, I had never listened to Sirius XM until maybe like a month ago. I was in the car, and obviously, you know, I was listening to the Pro Wrestling Nation, and Sam Roberts was on there with his show. It wasn't the Raw recap. It was like I think it was like Not Sam, I think it's called. I was listening to him for a little bit. Yeah, completely. Again, he's just one of those guys where it's like, he's under a WWE payroll. So, people like that just aren't completely honest. They're just not completely honest, I feel like, about like the product. I feel like if something sucks, they don't say that. Instead, they will say something else because of obviously who they are employed by and who they work with. So, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah. They could have wrestlers make a playlist of a bunch of banger theme songs. That would be good. Unfortunately, none of them would probably be of today's, but you know. So yeah, WWE Radio is active now as on Sirius XM. It should be. I think they said it was July 27th, so should be today. We then get The Vision versus Alpha Academy. What? Why is this the Raw before SummerSlam and not at SummerSlam? You've built this thing behind regardless on how good it was, you built this thing on a Maxine Dupree heel turn and joining up with the man that calls himself The Pressure, because he finally realizes the pressure of being a WWE superstar, and he's finally applying the pressure of what people did to his brother Logan Paul. You did this whole reveal with those two. Then you started this storyline with Alpha Academy, and nowhere to be seen. The only thing I could think of is they're gonna wait till Gable gets the IC title, and they're gonna have Gable help his boys win tag titles, or maybe coach his boys through getting the tag team championships. That's the only thing. Excuse me. That's the only thing I could think of. That's the only thing I could think of, because it's like, again, why would you do this here? Why would you do this here when you had a prime opportunity to put the tag team championships on SummerSlam with something that you've built? Because, like, contradictory to the War Raiders versus Wepa Up, I have a feeling they might put them on there, you know, because the War Raiders and their whole Viking thing and yada yada yada. There's still room for that. Because it said they wanted 13 matches, and so far they have 12. Now, they did say 12 to 13, so maybe this is all they leave it at, but if you give War Raiders and Wepa Up a tag team title match, then that's that's one thing, I guess. But it's like I haven't even heard of that feud really continuing or anything really happening with that feud as of late. So I don't even know if that's still on the table. Which, if that's the case, are we just willingly across a fucking 2-night show not getting tag titles on the show? And why is that? Because this is a guy who was so good at tag titles just a few years ago when he was running NXT. And now we're getting to two-night pay-per-views. And there's not a lick. There's not nothing in sight for the tag team championships. What are we doing? What are we doing? So they do this match on Monday Night Raw, and the Vision defeat the Alpha Academy. They attack them afterwards, and Theory applies the pressure to Otis and hits him with a steel chair held up against the ring post, which is basically exactly what Theory did to Joe Henry after, they injured his brother Logan Paul. Correct, Jeff. The Otis and Theory and Maxine story is pretty much exactly what they did with Dolph, Mandy, and Otis. Like, recycled garbage, bro. Recycled ass shit. Yeah, tag team division is absolutely doomed, man. Again, how they did not put this on SummerSlam. And now, the byproduct of that is Braun Breaker is now missing SummerSlam. Austin Theory is missing SummerSlam. And so is the Alpha Academy after, and that's not big of a deal, but so are those guys too after what has been building up on TV with the whole Vision and Alpha Academy. We don't get it on pay-per-view, we get it on Monday Night Raw. So, great. And now there's no tag titles, at least thus far, on SummerSlam. The fall off of tag team wrestling under Triple H of all people is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And something I truly did not see coming, to be honest. I really thought he was going to do very good with the tag teams. And boy, was I fucking wrong. Chad Gable. Chad Gable did a video package talking about how he used to be when he was a heel. Talking about how he let championships define him. He says he used to say he needed championships. But that is not he says he used to say he needed championships. He says, but that's just something people say when they don't know why they need championships or why they need something. Yeah, I'm sorry. He says that's just something people say when they don't know why they need something. He says, but now he knows why. He says he was forged in Minnesota. He was born and raised in Minnesota. He says he is coming home for the championship to represent his family, not as the man he used to be, but as the man who found himself. Chad Gable's such a bucket, bro. Chad Gable's such a bucket. He obviously wasn't on the show here today, but this promo package, enough. Just explaining, again, just putting it perfectly. feeling like he was defined by championships, and now, you know, he found his why, and he found why he needs to do this rather than just saying he needed it. Great explanation, and again, talking about how he found himself and how he needs to represent his family. Chad Gable, first of all, Chad Gable's a heel, is phenomenal as well, but Chad Gable's a babyface. He is just such a fucking likable babyface, man. I do not know why it would ever have needed to take them this long to do something with this man. He is so talented, and again, just such a bucket, bro. Such a bucket. Gable, after Gable's video package, Penta then got a video package. He said he respects Chad Gable. He respects that he apologized to him for everything that he did, and he said that SummerSlam, he is fighting for all the people who believe in him. So Penta kept it short and sweet, man. And again, I would really would have liked them on the show. I think that would have been definitely a big help to the show. But at the end of the day, I get, you know, they're probably both. Well, I know they're both. I've been seeing it all week. They're in Minnesota doing some promoting. I think Chad Gable was at. Oh, he was at some game. I can't remember. It might have been the Twins. Might have been. He was at some sports game in Minnesota. So I know what they're out there for. But yeah, this show definitely needed them or some type of interaction with them. We then got Javon Evans defeating the fake demon, Rusev. Javon Evans defeated the fake demon, bro. You know? I don't want to be that guy, but he don't want to lose to Hangman. He don't want to lose to Hangman, bro. He did not. Was adamantly against losing to Adam Hangman Page because he wanted better for his career. He wanted better for his career. He wanted to protect his character. He didn't want to lose. So, he's coming over to WWE, man, and here we are in tonight's episode of Raw. He's not fine with losing to Hangman. He's fine with losing to Javon Evans. As far as I'm fucking concerned, Hangman Page is a lot better than Javon Evans. Why would you want to lose to Javon Evans, but not Adam Page? And I love Javon Evans. I think Javon Evans is spectacular. No shade on Javon. But I just got to prove my point, bro. This guy's a fake demon. This guy's an absolute fake demon, man. He just wants to be in WWE, man. He just wants to fly the WWE flag. And all that got him was an OG cutter and a 1, a 2, and a 3. So yeah, fake demon gets packed up by Javon Evans. There you go. I actually thought that Rusev was going to win this match when he got him in the Accolade. I was like, are they really going to have the fake demon beat Javon Evans here? And what do you know? It's fake demon, bro. He's going to lose. Let's see. Io Sky. Io Sky says that she has been in Liv Morgan's head ever since Night of Champions. She says she's coming to SummerSlam to prove that Liv Morgan is not the greatest women's world champion of all time. Liv had a promo segment a little bit later in the night here. She says that Io is not in her head at all. She says Io is actually wrong about her. She said at SummerSlam, she is going to show her why people call her the greatest women's world champion of all time. I think the only one who calls Liv Morgan the greatest women's world champion of all time at this juncture is probably Triple H. Okay? It's probably Triple H because according to Triple H, Liv Morgan. Yes, Liv Morgan. We're thinking about the same Liv Morgan. Is a ring general. Ring General Liv. What do you know? Love to see it, man. I can't wait to see how this Ring General Liv Morgan is going to carry Io Sky to a great match, and to a great match at SummerSlam. I really can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see. You know, Liv Morgan, she brings the best out of everybody, man. I think Liv Morgan, I think Liv Morgan may, reach down deep into Io's soul and bring out the best match, because that's what Liv Morgan does. She's a ring general who brings everybody to their best match. She brings everybody to their best match, and I fully expect her to carry Io Sky to her best match, being that she is a ring general, according to Paul Triple H Levesque. But I digress. So yeah, those were the two promos between these two ladies here ahead of their match of at SummerSlam. I'm actually going to keep a real good eye on this match, and Triple H did that to her. Okay, this is nobody's fault but his. He calls her ring general. I want to see what this ring generalship is all about. Oh man. Joe Henry. Joe Henry and Danhausen did a cursed concert. And then they start dancing in sync. I Believe That You Are Cursed was the name of their song they performed today. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But does anybody want to tell me who in the blue fuck asked for I Believe That You Are Cursed? This is the type of shit, and this is why I can't fucking stand Triple H these days. This is the type of shit that I would watch back in the Vince days when somebody would walk into my room and see this fucking monstrosity happening before their very eyes. And every wrestling fan's been through this, where somebody walks into the room and they look at what you're watching and they say, "You like this? You watch this stuff? Really?" And you have to sit there like a jackass and say, "Well, I don't like this, but, this is some of the stuff they put on the show." Like an idiot. They do stuff like this, and then they wonder why wrestling will never be as cool. It will never be as cool in the public eye as other sports. Obviously, we love it because we're wrestling fans, and a lot of us have been wrestling fans since we're kids. But this is not the type of shit we love. This is not the love of the game. This is not what we show up for. Why? Why would you ever give anybody something on your show to make them feel embarrassed? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why you would put something on your program to make your... Who is having fun watching this? Who is watching this saying, "Man, I'm having a great fucking time"? Maybe they're standing up, doing the dance with Danhausen and Joe Henry. Who's doing that? This segment tonight was absolutely awful. Absolutely awful from top to bottom. These are two scrubs. Two absolute scrubs. Parading around, dancing in the ring, singing a joint song with the two of them. And at least Danhausen fucking sells merch. I'll give him that. Other than that, he's terrible. And don't even get me started on Joe Henry. This dude has no music skill at all. He made a viral shit song, and that was how he got popular. That was what made him. A shit viral song that blew up on TikTok or whatever it was. That was what got Joe Henry popular. And now this guy's stuck on WWE television thinking he's the fucking Rock or something with his little concerts. He can't wrestle. He can't cut a promo. His moveset's fucking atrocious. One of the worst I've ever seen. He's not compelling. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything other than do his stupid little turnaround spot and smile on the camera. He sucks. He sucks. He is fucking ass. And so does Danhausen. He can't wrestle. He's not compelling. He's corny as fuck. Only thing you can say about him, at least he's over. Joe Henry is not. He's fucking ass. Terrible. He sucks. And the both of them together? The both of them together is the both of them together is like a fucking tornado meeting a tsunami. I mean, it is absolutely going to take apart whatever it's in his way. And this absolutely took me apart, watching these two dorks parade around in the ring. Absolutely cringe stuff. And this is what Triple H, the godfather of NXT, is doing. Papa NXT, Papa Mark. This is what he's doing on WWE television. And when people when people get in the moods and they say, you know, TKO sucks, TKO's holding down the company, I can assure you, the billionaire suits of TKO aren't saying to Triple H, you know, we should do a I believe that you are cursed concert with Joe Henry and Danhausen. This is him. This is him. He proofreads this script. He looks at this script. He says this is okay. He looks at guys on his roster that are clearly scrubs and thinks that they're the shit. Like these two. This is Triple H. This segment was downright fucking offensive on this show. And clearly tells me, if this is what's on Triple H's fucking brain, he does not know what he's doing, and he is not fit for this job. Shall he book shit like this? Absolutely fucking offensive. Again, this is the stuff that you watch. This is the stuff that you watch when somebody else walks in the room and sees you watching it, and you get laughed at for being a wrestling fan. This is Vince shit. This is not what I want to watch. When somebody fucking walks in the room and sees me watching Monday Night Raw, I want them to see me watching Tribal Court, the OG Tribal Court from 2023, with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. I want them to see me fucking listening to a Kevin Owens promo. I want them to see me fucking doing anything else, watching a Will Ospreay match. I don't know, something. Not this. This is the stuff that gets us laughed at for being wrestling fans. Because they think it's okay to put things like this on. And then use the excuse, we have something for everybody on our show. Who is this for? Who is this for? Why am I watching a vampire and some guy who fucking dyed his hair like Slim Shady parading around in the ring singing this just terrible song? Who is it for? Who is this for? They both suck. And this was downright offensive. And it somehow gets even more ridiculous. The Clippers dancers come down and they're dancing around the ringside area. And Ryan Garcia jumps the barricade and starts a conga line with them, like commentary said. He joined the conga line. He jumps in the ring and starts playing guitar. He then hits Joe Henry in the back with the guitar, and the Judgment Day come and jump Danhausen. This segment ended with JD and Dom standing shoulder to shoulder with Ryan Garcia. As he's doing all types of fast punches, they're sitting there with their fucking arms up in the air. Are you kidding? Are you actually kidding? This is the same guy that booked WWE in 2022 and 2023. This is him. This is him. This is that guy. This is the guy. This is the guy who fucking orchestrated WrestleMania 39 and 40. This is him. This is the guy behind Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Absolutely fallen off a cliff is his booking. What an absolute embarrassment. What an embarrassment of a segment. Had somebody actually walked in the room while I was watching this, I probably would have panicked and fucking just threw the remote at the TV and broke the fucking thing. Or more level-headed thing to do would be to just rapidly shut the TV off. I would have absolutely hated in a million years to get caught watching something like this segment. Which, as wrestling fans, again, it happens to us all the time. I think the worst thing was that the worst thing I've ever been caught watching on WWE TV was that segment, that dance battle segment from 2020 SmackDown, was the Performance Center, where it's like, I think my mom walked into the room and SmackDown's on and this is the shit playing. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And she's like, what are you watching? And I'm like, thanks, Mom. I'm watching SmackDown. I don't know what this is. Please forgive me. This sucks. I promise I don't like this part of the show. And this was worse than that. I couldn't have even imagined how I would have felt being caught watching something the likes of this. Offensive ass segment was this. Big Cass. We get a Big Cass vignette. He says, or the little narrator voice says, when you hit rock bottom, the only thing to do is come back up, or is to climb back up and prove everybody wrong. Still no Enzo, and we're a week out. I don't know if they will try to save Enzo for a surprise, or they can maybe have Cass invite Enzo to Monday Night Raw, maybe the following week, and maybe do a segment where Cass, apologizes to his boy. Either way, at least from the stories we've heard, it is Enzo and Cass. If it is going to be Cass, then that's going to be just Cass, then that's going to be a bit strange, I must say. I don't really know how much I am rocking with that. However, it is going to be next week, and I'm excited to see what they have in store, and I do feel we will see Enzo. I do. So, excited to see what happens, man. Excited to see what happens, and I'm excited to see Big Cass back. It seems like from these vignettes, they've been really good. They've been kind of highlighting the downfall of Big Cass and the downfall of Enzo and Cass. So, not really Enzo and Cass. They showed the turn, but showing the downfall of Big Cass. So I'm excited to see what they do have in store. But yeah, next week. I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. Logan says, was Sir K saved from watching this show? If I know him, I know he is probably so happy that this night of all nights, he did not have to watch Monday Night Raw. Especially on this night. We have Ethan Page defeating Rey Mysterio. He used the ring apron and countered the 619 through that and hit the Egoplex for the victory. Cool, I guess. Getting Ethan Page some wins. I guess that's definitely something they should focus on doing. So I'm glad that it happened. And yeah, Rey Mysterio, bro's still doing it. He's doing it in LA. So home state, I guess. So there you go. Going back to Danhausen. Why am I going back to Danhausen? Danhausen is found in his locker room, and his midgets, his Dan midgets, the Dwarfhausens, the Midgethausens are there as well, laid out. And Adam Pearce comes in and he asks Danhausen, can you just give the Judgment Day the money? And Danhausen says, human monies on a pole. And just if Danhausen couldn't make my night any worse, they are going to have Dominic Mysterio wrestling in a human monies on a pole match at SummerSlam. You know, we just talked yesterday about, on the Redemption review, about how AEW does a great job with putting like younger guys who maybe are unexperienced in the main event scene in main events. You know what I mean? They did it with MJF back in like 2020. They put him in main events. You know what I mean? And he was a fairly newer guy. They did it with, Adam Page, newer, young guy. They did it with Kyle Fletcher last year. They just did it with Kevin Knight yesterday. That's what they have their young guys doing. That's what they have their promising young generation doing. And WWE, on the other hand, has Dominic, who's one of the most promising young guys that they have, wrestling in a human monies on a pole match at SummerSlam. If that doesn't tell you everything wrong with what they do with some of their young talent, then I don't know what does. Poor Dominic Mysterio. I feel terrible for him. This dude has been in the game 6 years. He's been in the game for 6 years, blossomed a lot in those 6 years. By year 6, he should absolutely already have contended for, or at least contended for, or won a world title by now, because he is that good. But no, we're coming up on another SummerSlam for Dom, and he is fighting for human monies on a fucking pole. Great. Great, Paul. What a visionary you are. What an absolute idiot. Can't forget that one, too. The Usos come out cutting a promo that gets interrupted by their little brother Solo. May I add, we talked last week about how they shouldn't make Solo a heel and put him back in the bloodline. I gotta say, this little babyface run that Solo's been on, especially ever since he linked up with Royce Keys and LA Knight, and they've kind of been doing this little anti-bloodline thing, spells it out even more to please keep this guy as a babyface and keep him away from the bloodline, bro. People love this fucking dude, and he is genuinely a likable, hilarious guy. Do I still have a feeling they will turn him back and put him back with the bloodline at some point? Probably. That's my fear here, because the only thing I can hope for is that WWE is seeing this reaction last minute and is going to decide, okay, maybe we shouldn't put him in here because people actually really do like him as a babyface. And dude, he's pretty early on in his little babyface run. We only broke up with the MFTs maybe like a month ago, 3 weeks ago at this point. So we're very early on in this Solo Sikoa babyface run, and people already like it this much. You can really water this plant and watch it blossom into something great if you play your cards right. Again, he's a likable guy. He is fucking hilarious. People love the guy. Go with the original idea of Solo Sikoa. Obviously, you're not going with that original character, but in NXT, that was one of the whole main things to his character, man, is he didn't need his family. He didn't want his family. He liked being solo. Please keep him solo and have him be a babyface, man. I really think you got some serious magic here if you go through with this. So Solo comes out while Jay says, "This is a warning shot. Bow." But when he says bow, Solo says bow with him. He then is standing up in the crowd saying bow. Bow. He then says the bloodline is not in your city because the real bloodline has Solo Sikoa in it. These are the things that do scare me, even though, I feel like he could add a bit of hilariousness to the bloodline if he does go back with the bloodline. I think he could add seriousness to a group that's all not that intriguing. They genuinely done dropped the ball with Jacob Fatu. He's an enforcer now, and I feel like we're going to eventually get back to the point where he'll be a world champion, but they want to play the long game where, now he's got to fall in line for a little bit. And, Jacob Fatu, if I would have booked it, would have been in a fatal 4-way competing for the WWE Championship this year at Mania, probably even winning the WWE Championship at Mania if I had the pen. And now he's just back to being an enforcer, which again I feel is a part of the story, but it just sucks because we already have to wait so long. We already waited so long for him to get out of Solo's group. You know what I mean? And he gets out of there for a little bit, and he's back, and now he's with Roman's group. So always stuck in a group is Jacob Fatu, at least for majority of his WWE run here. And it does suck to see. It does suck to see. And again, for as much as I feel like Solo could add a nice bit of fun to the serious bloodline, similar to how Sami Zayn did, these are things we've all seen before. Obviously, with Sami Zayn being the honorary Uso and adding some fun to a very serious bloodline group. I just think with the history with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, you have done everything to portray that Solo hates the way Roman went about everything. And for him just to fall back in line, him of all people, the guy who created a whole nother bloodline to fight the bloodline, to me, just again doesn't make any sense. Solo Sikoa has been the only guy to go hell or high water to get to get out of the grasp of Roman Reigns. For him to go right back in it would make absolutely no sense. You know what I mean? And funny enough, it should be guys like the Usos who side with Solo Sikoa, because they should not be down with Roman Reigns either. You know what I mean? After everything Roman Reigns did to them, Solo is the one he did the least to. Yet Solo's the one who's super against Roman Reigns. Either way, I do like. Obviously, there's so many plot holes in that, but I really like Solo Sikoa as a babyface, man. He's a very likable guy, and again, people love the guy. So all I can ask is that they keep him solo, and he stays a babyface. But Jimmy then tells Solo, "You need to come back to the bloodline and run the play, or else." Solo says, "Or else what? What are you going to do? Give me a warning shot, bow? Are you going to do your stupid yeet crap for 30 minutes and bore everybody to sleep?" This got a pop, by the way. He says, "Why would I come back? I love where I'm at. So you could tell Roman to kiss my ass." LA Knight comes out, and him and Solo Sikoa brawl with the Usos, and Jacob Fatu comes out to help the Usos, and Royce Keys comes out to help the baby faces, and the faces go up in the scenario here, or the little brawl here. They get the one up at the end of it. So yeah, the baby faces go out on top here, and yeah, again, very good promo material from Solo Sikoa. Pretty good. It was a pretty good but brief promo from LA Knight. He didn't really say too much other than what he normally says. But nonetheless, man, I thought it was good stuff. At least Solo's portion of it. I just really like hearing how just natural he sounds as a babyface. So I like it. Dude, we then get this odd Hell in a Cell first person narration where we're hearing the Cell talk as if this is fucking Monster House or something. And what made this so weird was some of the choices of dialogue here. Why they couldn't just talk about the Cell in a third person setting, I don't know. The Hell in a Cell is saying things along the likes of, "Horrible things happen inside of me. Championships have been defended inside my walls. And a beast and a ruler, their rivalry will come to test my walls." Did nobody proof watch this? Horrible things happen inside of me. Championships are defended inside my walls. And Oba and Brock are going to come and test the walls. Maybe I'm just dirty-minded. But, you can't say that doesn't sound a little odd, bro. But the Cell was talking about, its walls, and this was a segment that made me mildly uncomfortable, considering the cage was talking to me. So, a bit odd, must say, but This is what they did. This is what they did, man. They had the cell talk to us in first person. We then have Raquel Rodriguez defeating Sol Ruca for the Women's Intercontinental Championship with the help of the Judgment Day. Roxanne came out, Liv came out, Io then came out and tried to fight off the Judgment Day, and then Sol went to go for the Soul Snatcher, but Roxanne pulled her and flung her into the ring post, and Raquel scooped her up off the top for the Tejana Bomb, and she won the championship. She won the Women's Intercontinental Championship here. What are we doing? Not that I'm not happy for Raquel. I've actually came to like Raquel in the past couple of years. A couple of years ago, I wasn't really too big a fan of Raquel's. I thought she was just kind of bland. I've actually came to like Raquel for the most part, I would say. And I'm happy for her. But dude, Paul, brother, you done gave Sol Ruca a absolute nothing of a title reign. You didn't even try with her. Here we are again, talking about young talents. And Sol Ruca was given a Women's Intercontinental Championship from Becky Lynch. She got the honor of beating Becky Lynch. Clean. And goes on to do a whole lick of nothing. Whole lot of nothing with the IC title. Just for you to turn right back around and give it to Raquel. Why? Why would you do that? Which again, I don't have a problem with Raquel winning the IC title, but why now? And why after this nothing of a title reign that you gave to Sol Ruca? Again, one of the more promising people in the women's division. Given an IC title, and this is what you do with it. This is what you do with it. And this is why, shit like this is why half of your title reigns end up underwhelming and being absolutely nothing by the time they come to their end. Their bitter end. Ridiculous. I feel bad for Sol Ruca. I'm happy for Raquel. I just feel so terrible for Sol Ruca because she wasn't even given an opportunity to fucking be a champion. They did not do anything with this woman, bro. Come on, man. This brings us to the main event segment. Rollins and Roman. Roman Reigns comes out there and he asks LA to acknowledge him. He actually didn't even. He said Los Angeles. And then Rollins, I don't even think he got to ask acknowledge me, but he gets interrupted by Seth Rollins. Seth says he knows he's the bad guy in this situation. He said, Roman is the biggest star in the business. And everything this company wanted you to be, everything this company handed you, you succeeded. You became the biggest star in the business, but there's one thing you'll never be better at than me, and that's professional wrestling. He says, every time we face each other, I own you. He said, you've seen all the chapters tonight. Every time, I own you. He asks Roman, he says, on Sunday, are you going to cheat? Are you going to have your bloodline? Are you going to call your bloodline to come and help you? He says, either way, Roman, you don't stand a chance. Roman says he's the only real superstar, the only real champion in this company. He said Sunday he needs to beat Seth Rollins. Seth then says he says, when I suckered you into this match, he knew, based off what Roman said, that he knew that Roman needed his family to see him beat Seth. He says, and that did remind me of when he sent Roman's family home crying in tears at WrestleMania 31. And I want to do it again. I want your family to know that their dad will always be Seth Rollins' bitch. Roman Reigns gets upset, punches Seth. These two start brawling. Roman Reigns, I gotta say first for the promo, I thought the promo was fine. Again, I like, he's getting personal, obviously talking about his family. He's talking about his family here and saying he wants him to relive WrestleMania 31. Again, the promo here wasn't bad. I could certainly say this. I'm definitely more intrigued in this match than the Cody and Punk match. I'm definitely more intrigued in. I just think, again, they're not really doing anything to, I guess, necessarily light the world on fire here. But at the end of the day, is Shield lore, I guess, is more intriguing than the Cody and Punk little brother lore, being that Rollins and Roman have actual real history to go off of. Not whatever history Cody and Punk are trying to convince us they have. But I digress. So, Roman gets on the outside of the ring and he grabs the coveted Shield chair. Grabs the Shield chair, guys. Only few people know the lore behind that chair. That was the same exact chair Rollins took to Roman and Dean's back when he betrayed his brothers to go with the Authority. Same one. Same exact chair. Roman grabs the chair and rolls in the ring with the chair, and as he's sliding with the chair, he's got his head above the chair. Rollins pops up. He was kind of waiting in possum. I think he knew what Roman was going to do. So he was kind of waiting, and as soon as Roman got in the ring, he turned around and stomped him on the chair, and they played up to the story that Roman Reigns' obsession for, wanting to get back at Rollins cost him on this night. And they're obviously playing up, will this cost him at SummerSlam? The story, again, the story is okay. It's a lot big. It's more believable than Punk and Cody's little brother story, right? At the end of the day, I just feel like the spot at WrestleMania 40 should have been the end of Roman Reigns' obsession with Seth Rollins. I feel like the fact that he hit Rollins in the back with the chair rather than hitting Cody with it, and obviously he ended up losing the title at WrestleMania 40, I feel like that should have been the moment that brought Roman Reigns back down to earth, and where the character of Roman Reigns should have realized what, an obsession for revenge can do to you. It can lead you to lose everything. But I guess that's also the story of Roman Reigns that WWE's told, which I think is terrible, is that Roman Reigns apparently never learns from anything, and he never feels any remorse for anything, and he never learns from a single thing in his life. So, again, that's just that to me, the way I seen it, the whole storyline of Roman Reigns obsessing over Seth Rollins turning on the Shield should have fucking ended when Roman Reigns faced the ultimate truth of having to lose the world championship because he was so obsessed with Seth Rollins and because he was obsessed with getting back for the Shield. And that's not, again, we're still saying that Seth is obsessed with Roman, and or that Roman is obsessed with Seth, and I just feel like it should have been over then. That's the only thing that gets me here, man. Other than that, I mean, the segment was fine. Again, I do like it a lot more than Cody Punk, but at the end of the day, man, when is it going to be time for Roman Reigns' character to have remorse and realizations? I ask. I wonder. I wonder every day, as a matter of fact. But that was everything for Monday Night Raw. And that's everything. That's everything we got here today for Unscripted. Thank you guys so very much for joining me as I'm on here solo for Unscripted today. And yeah, thank you guys so very much. It's been a pleasure, as always. It's always been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. And yeah, that is everything. And yeah, thank you guys as always. Manager Logan, OG, hello, how are you? And we got my guy Jumpin' Jeff, and we have none other than Mr. Walk 'em Down and Cut They Shiz Off, my guy Gotti. Thank you guys for joining us as always. That is gonna do it. Thank you guys as always. Again for joining me for another edition of Unscripted. This has been episode 310, and with that, it has been a pleasure for my Johnny. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys. We love you guys very much, and we will see you all on Friday at 1 p.m. Central with the news and the SummerSlam 2026 predictions. And peace.